What is up, guys? Welcome to my review for Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, Episode 12, titled Curse of the Earth Totem. I just realized something. All the Arrowverse shows other than Legends of Tomorrow on break, meaning that Legends of Tomorrow is now going to catch up. So when the Arrowverse comes back, the Flash and Arrow come back, it will be the same episode. They're both going to be on episode 14, so that's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that till right now. But let's get into the review. So this episode had 3 plots to it. 2 of them connected, the other one didn't, and the one that didn't connect to the other 2 was by far the best. That one being the Kid Flash and Rip Hunter side plot. So I actually was under the impression that Kid Flash and Rip Hunter weren't going to show up in this episode, which got me a little annoyed because we would have to wait another week to find out the resolution of the last week's ending. But it turns out they are in this episode, but I guess I got it wrong. I guess that they're not joining until episode 13, but they are appearing in this episode, and that's definitely a good thing because they actually made this episode so much better. Their scenes together were so much fun, especially the one in Tokyo where they were singing Careless Whisper. That was an amazing scene, probably, or definitely the best scene of this episode. It was so much fun, and just this whole side plot was a lot of fun. And the fact that they didn't join yet, and even though the subplot didn't really need to exist, they could have just went straight to the Kid Flash joining. It still was a lot of fun, and I think it needed to be there to make Kid Flash and Rip Hunter friends or allies or something like that, because up until now they haven't met. Rip Hunter actually hasn't met any of the rest of the Arrowverse other than the Legends. So this side plot kind of did need to happen to make Kid Flash become more attached to the Legends and familiar with Rip Hunter. Obviously, he already knows he already knows Nate and now Rip Hunter, so him joining the team will be just a stitch because he knows everyone. But either way, it was a really fun side plot, and I'm really glad they included it. One thing it was weird about was that Rip Hunter said that Kid Flash was an outcast from Team Flash, and sure, that was true in the last episode, but it was not at all true during Season 3 and the first episode of Season 4. It just wasn't at all. He was a prominent member of the team. Just because he wasn't he wasn't as smart as the rest of them doesn't mean he was an outcast. In the final episode, they actually forced the final episode of his appearance on the Flash before the crossover or whatever. He was kind of an outcast. They really forced it because nobody noticed he was gone the entire episode. I actually didn't notice either, but that's because the cast is pretty big and they already have I don't know, but either way, he was not an outcast at all until that final episode, which it definitely feels like the Flash writers forced that upon the character. But either way, I think the Legends of Tomorrow is a better place for him because it gives him more room to have fun and be more of a weighty character than on the Flash, especially in Season 3. He had no room to do that in Season 3, but on Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, but when I say Season 3, I mean the Flash Season 3, but on this Season 3, I think that his character will be a lot more fun and interesting, and he will be the only speedster on this show, so that might be interesting as well. So this episode is called The Curse of the Earth Totem, which means we're seeing the Earth Totem for the first time, and it is the only totem we haven't seen yet. Up until now, we saw the Fire, Water, and Spirit Totem in the Vixen series, and then the Wind Totem here with Zari, but up until now, we haven't seen the Earth Totem, and I was under the impression that it is an Earth Totem, that it controls Earth, that it's like Earthbending in Avatar: The Last Airbender, where they just shoot rocks or control the ground, but really it's a grass totem. In this episode, we saw it in action. We saw the grass vines can take control of that female pirate's body and attack her and attack the others. It's not an Earth Totem. It's a grass leaf vine totem, really. Which is really it's really weird why they did that. If they're gonna do the grass totem, they should have just called it that. If they're gonna do the Earth Totem, they should have had him have it control the Earth or shoot rocks or something like that. But it's not. It controls vines. It's like poison ivy. It's a grass totem. It's really weird why it's called the Earth Totem. In my opinion, maybe the vines might be like an extension of the Earth. But you can say that about literally anything, so it's just really weird that it's called the Earth Totem when it controls vines and leaves and grass. It's just really weird. Speaking of the Earth Totem, really the main storyline of this episode was the Legends go to 1717 to retrieve the Earth Totem. Well, first they were going to retrieve the Fire Totem from from 2018, but then Damien Dark got there first, which does beg the question, can't they just time travel back to like 2017 to retrieve the fire totem before Damien Dark gets it? Or sometimes they just don't use time travel to its full potential or capacity on this show, but I guess that would cheat the law. That would make everything obsolete, which begs another question, just make the show not time travel. It doesn't really need to be a time travel show anymore. I think it would be better if it was just in 2018 with the rest of the Arrowverse shows, but that's not a part of this review. That was just the first thing to come to mind when talking about Damien Dark getting the fire totem before the Legends do, and I wish they would have showed that. They could have showed Damien Dark get it, retrieve it. They could have had that be an entire episode, but again, that's not a complaint. That's just me pointing it out. But the Legends go back to 1717 to retrieve the Earth Totem, and that whole storyline was the second best part of the episode. It wasn't nearly as good as the side plot with Kid Flash and Rip Hunter, but it was a lot better than the other side plot of Sara and Ava. But this main plot should probably usually be the best part of the episode because it is the main plot, and it was fun. It was a fun plot, and it also obviously was story-driven, more so than the other two, but still it just wasn't as fun as the Kid Flash or Rip Hunter one. I just like that one so much. But the pirates setting of 1717 wasn't used really well. They were on the cabin, the ship, basically all of the time, except for when they go to that island where the Earth Totem or the Vine Totem is, which is really what it should be called. But that's it. That's all they do, which isn't really using the setting of 1717 and the pirates thing to its full capacity. I said that a lot this review. I just realized that. But obviously they're pirates, so they can stay on the ship the whole time. But even that, they were in the inside of the ship, not on the outside, with like waves and a storm. That would have been pretty exciting, but we never actually saw that. Also, the Jewy, the I don't even remember what they called her, Pirate Jewy. That was a little forced in this episode. I didn't really like that much. I felt like it was just a little forced and it didn't really need to be there. The fact that Blackbeard was a comedic character instead of like a badass didn't bother me at all because, we don't actually know how he was really like. We know that in the past, like, he was obviously a scary dude, but he could have been a comedic guy at heart. So the fact that they did that in this episode does not bother me one bit. I actually thought it was pretty funny. And that storyline basically ended with Ray shooting Nora with his magic gun, which, when you look at it, is pretty OP. He could clearly take out or kill Nora and Damien Dark pretty easily, which is pretty cool because usually Damien Dark and kind of Nora are the OP ones and they can't be stopped, like in Arrow Season 4 and in this season. But with this magic gun, they are completely neutralized by one shot and they're dead, and on one point, in one hand, it makes them really, really vulnerable and or it makes them less OP, but at the second time, it makes them completely useless because Ray can just shoot them. But either way, Ray feels guilty because he met her as a kid, which actually felt pretty natural considering what we saw. I think it was previous episode, or was it episode 10? It was episode 10, the one with Damien, with Constantine. So that one, I feel like it was actually kind of natural how he felt guilty for killing her because he knew her as a kid. But at the same time, it was pretty dumb to go back there and trust Damien Dark to make the trade. It was pretty stupid, but I guess, again, it does feel natural considering that he knew her as a kid and bonded with her, I guess, a little bit. Also, it's kind of weird because those two actors, Brandon Routh and Nora Dark's actors, are actually married, which is kind of weird how they did that, but at the same time, that's not a bad thing at all. It's just that him going to save her, it was both really natural to what we saw and also just really, really stupid, which is in Ray's character. He is a really good person, but sometimes he could be stupid. He's obviously a genius, but he could also make some stupid decisions like he did here. So I feel like, yeah, it's in his character, but at the same time, it's just really, really dumb. And I don't really like it when he does stupid things because he's supposed to be a genius. And then the third storyline of Sara and Ava going on a date, that was definitely the worst part of the episode. It wasn't fun. They didn't really have good chemistry. it didn't really need to be there. I know a lot of people actually really liked that storyline. I saw a lot of tweets on Twitter, a lot of comments on the trailer for the next episode, but me personally, I didn't really like it. Nothing really more to add to that, just that I didn't like that part of the episode. In conclusion, I thought this episode was almost mediocre, but the Kid Flash or Wally West and Rip Hunter side plot was so much fun that it saved it from being mediocre. The Sara and Ava subplot wasn't that great. The Legends Go to 1717 subplot, not subplot, that was the main plot, was pretty good, but nothing amazing or anything. And also the Earth Totem was pretty disappointing considering it's not an Earth Totem. The only thing keeping this episode from being mediocre was Wally West and Rip Hunter partying the entire episode because it was just so much fun. So I'll give this episode an 8.4 out of 10. But let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.